one thing about the churches there, once we go into our church, because my church was on the air twice each Sunday. And then we had evening service. We came on at 11 o'clock, then we came on at 3. But when we finished, what I really admired about it is this. Well, once we got to doing this service at our church, we would go to 44th Street, where Reverend Thurston was the pastor. Then when we leave there, we would go to some other church. And First Church of Deliverance, Reverend Clarence Carr. That time, Lucia Hall was the announcer, church announcer. And that's where Ralph Goodpasture was on there. What we just went from church to church. It wasn't like it to me like it is today. The pastors did not get angry because we went there. And we just fellowship. And that's how I met Reverend Clevens before he even got his church. He was in the funeral home. And I used to go and do programs and things for him. Then he got the Omega Church after Reverend Blair left out. Then he got over here to, I can't think of the preacher now, where he is today. But he has built this other beautiful. It was just a thing. The preachers was, to me, was more close together than we are today. So we was blessed to go, and our pastors then, like Reverend, I can't even think of all those preachers, but we went. Reverend Body, a lot of people don't even know him, but we went to those churches and they received, whether it was spiritual church, whether it was Methodist church, whether it was Baptist, it didn't make no difference with us. We didn't pull off because I was Baptist. We would go, and every Sunday night, we'd always go to Reverend Clarence Scott. At that time, they was known as the spiritual church. And then when we leave there, all of us meet down to Gladys to eat. That's how we fellowship. And it wasn't with the choirs and the solos. That time it was Ozella, Mosley, and these were the great solos out of the other church. We just fellowship. And that's what the joy. Marvin Yancey had his church. His daddy was the pastor at the time. Then Marvin, he started the pastor. So it was a thing that, to me, I don't know, they was more unified. And I think the preachers had more. They loved more. It wasn't just because your church was small, whether the church was small or large. We fellowship with each other. And so that's what I like about Chicago. And that was a place that if you can make it at that time, and I think it still exists today, if you can make it in Chicago and New York and Detroit, you can go all over the universe and sing. I'm serious.
Right.
Those are your basics. If those people really accept you and like what you're doing, you can go all over this universe and sing. Because they're either going to be honest with you or they ain't going to respond to you. And I like that. People don't like you to be honest. They want you to go the other way. But I like honesty. See, if I do something wrong, you tell me. I might not like it, but then I think about it. If you got Christianity in your heart, because truth and honesty is the basic Christianity. And I feel that if you're honest with me, I might get a little upset. But if you really got Christ in your life, when you think about it, you weren't trying to criticize me. You're trying to help me. And once we can learn to accept things, okay, how angry it makes, then that's where God have people to come to us to stay. So that's your question in Chicago. I went to all churches. I went to all of them. See, and that's what we did. It's not a church in Chicago we didn't go to visit with. Another thing, whenever they needed a Pilgrim Baptist church, that's where Roberta was at the time. Bert came into my church after she came to Mount Pisgah. I was already a member there. But that's just the way we were. And I pray to God today that we will once get that fellowship again. And if I need it or whatever, those churches was there. They really, to me, what it really means, that we always said that tithes and the offering and the windows of heaven, they never said nothing about the storehouse now. But in those days, we had storehouses. If I had a need of somebody, they didn't have to be a member of Mount Pisgah. You could be a member of First Church. If you needed, you could come. You had to go through all these unnecessary changes. They had a storehouse to give to you what our tithes and our offering. And I pray that would come back one day. Then I'm through with that.